Hello, everybody. My name is Christian. I'm the host of the Disruptive Chef Entrepreneur Show. And I know I say this at every episode, but we have a really special guest today. As a restaurateur, did you know that there was something missing in your industry, and not just in your industry, in your facility? Are you an operator which was always thinking, hey, there's something else I need to have? And today you guys need that something else. Hello again. My name is Christian. I'm the host of the Disruptive Chef Entrepreneur Show, and I'm really excited for today's episode because as we researched who else can we bring to you guys, we found this really amazing person. She is a restaurant acquisition and retention expert. Are you hearing me? She is a restaurant guest acquisition and retention expert. She's not only amazingly good what she does, she connects restaurant with new guests to help those operators make new non-traditional revenue. Don't you need somebody like that? Let me introduce you to Miss Laura Wilber. Miss Laura, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Christian. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
So I'm really excited about this. First off, as we learned of you and that you are a restaurant and acquisition retention expert, I had to go really deep. I was like, I didn't know that existed, number one. Number two, whatever it is, I want to. So for me, I was really fascinated around what that is. So help our listeners to stand a little bit. First off, where are you calling in from? What do you do? And what does a restaurant guest acquisition and retention expert do?
Okay, thank you for asking. So I'm coming to you live from my kitchen here in Encinitas, California, which is in North San Diego County. And it looks kind of clean for one reason: I don't cook. And for that reason, I also absolutely have a life or death need for restaurant operators and chefs. So thank you for feeding me and my family and keeping us alive. I've spent about 3 decades now working to help businesses grow in a variety of different roles. And I've also had a lot of experience dining at great restaurants as a business diner myself. So I understand the value of having business diners in your restaurant. And that's what I do today. I've spent my whole career trying to figure out what's the most cost-effective way to attract and retain the highest value guest in the restaurant. And I've come to believe that that's somebody paying with the company's money instead of their own. And especially in today's environment where our dollars are just not stretching as far as they used to. And so that's what I do all day, is just look for great restaurants to send our corporate and government clients to when they're traveling for official company business.
That's amazing. First of all, I travel a lot. Last week we went Chicago, we went St. Louis, we went to Kansas City and back. I would have loved to have, first off, somebody like you in my back pocket. And second of all, I'm interested in just help me understand a little bit, why are restaurant account diners crucial for today's restaurant, number one, and how do you feel they impact overall profitability?
Great question. So it's important, primarily because it solves two problems. Restaurants are traditionally busier on the weekends, and that's because you and I, when we're paying with our own money, are more inclined to dine on the weekends when we're not working. And secondarily, right now, again, consumers are pulling back. Their dollar is not stretching as far as it used to. So they're being, they're not dining as frequently in restaurants. And when they do, they're being a little bit more careful about how much they spend. On the other side of that equation is the business diner, who is actually spending more than ever. The GBTA, I wrote down the number, the Global Business Travel Association is predicting that this year $1.48 trillion will be spent on business travel. And so, with the dining component of that, it's not just, for me, I need to eat, right, to survive, like we all do. But for the business traveler, it's really the investment that the companies make in dining out is not just feeding people. It's the chance to have people come together and have a business meeting. In the case of maybe a fine dining experience, it's a long experience where you really get a chance to bond with somebody
Yeah.
over some great food and create a memorable experience. So for that reason, companies are willing to invest a lot of money in that.
I love that. So, as a restaurateur, what are some of the effective strategies I can deploy to get that kind of diner into my facility?
Okay. So, really the easiest way, and part of my why for why I do this work is, like you, having a heart for how hard it is to operate a restaurant, even under the best conditions, right?
Yep.
And just how taxing that is on everybody, especially the chef, but everybody in the operation. So, what can I do to automate the process of guest acquisition and
Yep.
retention? And so, again, that's how I found my way to Dinova almost 5 years ago. Is this process is automated because the restaurants become part of company policy as
Mhm.
partners, right?
I love that.
So basically, we are contracted by global companies and government agencies to procure partnerships with these great restaurants
Mhm.
all over the United States and Canada. And the folks at these companies that are given a company card
Yep.
are instructed and trained when they're onboarded, fly the partner airline, drive
Mhm.
the partner rental car, stay at the partner hotel, and dine at one of these 23,000 partner restaurants.
So, I love that. Step back. I'm a restaurateur. How do I
Yeah.
get on that list to be one of the 23,000?
So you just have a meeting with me, and I just need to find out about your offerings, right? To
Yep.
make sure that you have, I'll have to check out the business.
Yep.
I've talked about this in the past about how surprised you would be by the number of restaurants that don't have the basics on their website, right? Because somebody like me, I'm vetting these restaurants to understand, are they going to be a viable option for my corporate clients when they're traveling to your city? And there's so many things a restaurant operator can and should do just on the basics. I met with a
Yep.
restaurant in Arizona yesterday that has completely nailed it on their website. And they have, the different tabs across the top that talk about catering, private events, online ordering, carry out, to go, delivery. Everything is completely spelled out. All you have to do is click the button. There's information that's very intuitive and easy to use. There are pictures of the private and semi-private
Yep.
dining. Everything is right there. There are pictures of signature dishes with descriptions, and there's so much that you as a restaurant operator can do to entice the guest and make it easy for them to get a clear understanding of who you are. And another really important thing, Christian, is for the restaurant operator to really be their authentic self
Mhm.
and know who they are and tell their story. I love on a website when there's a button that says our story
Yep.
and kind of the origin story of the restaurant. And so that people feel like they know you as the operator, and everybody wants to support the business where they know the owner.
I love that. So, what are the minimum prerequisites in order to be qualified for that?
So it's interesting. I mean, this restaurant that I just onboarded yesterday in Arizona is a small, single location Asian cuisine restaurant.
Yep.
They're not doing huge volume, but we absolutely have a need for more Asian cuisine in
Mhm.
that area of Arizona. And so it's really just for us, it's just almost anybody
Yeah.
could be part of the network as long as they have those basic requirements met. And as far as everything that we need to see on the website and that we can research to make sure that our corporate clients will have a great experience when they get there.
So I'm part of the list. What are some of the tips, tricks, or strategies you tell me as the operator, not just to bring him into my facility? How do I retain him and have him come back the next time when I come to town?
Again, I mean, that's part of the beauty of this automated network, is because you are a partner of theirs now, right? As part of company policy, they need to pick one of their partners. And so if if they're in your immediate area and they're in the mood for your cuisine type,
Yeah.
when you're a partner, they're going to come back. And our data shows that the repeat visits are really high with our corporate cardholders. So you asked a little earlier about why is this an important group, right?
Yeah.
People paying with their company's money instead of their own spend 50 to 200% more,
Wow.
and they dine primarily early and midweek because they want to be home for dinner with their family by Friday night.
Yeah, actually, you just described me because and for me, when we eat out, I like to eat early. So we made reservations at 5 p.m. every single night. And the people which travel with me didn't call it dinner. They call it dinner because it's still late lunch.
Are
But
they European?
yeah, so I like to eat early. And then also, I wanted to get out on Friday. Unfortunately, that Friday we had that little hiccup with Microsoft. So
Oh man.
I had the pleasure to stay an additional day in Kansas City. So I have this customer. I know I gave him a great experience. Talk to me a little bit. How important is customer experience in that whole acquisition and retaining piece for the operator themselves?
I mean, it's obviously critical, and you would know that better than me, right? So my lane, my expertise is I'm the invitation. I'm going to get them to the party. You, the restaurant operator, are the party, and it better be a good party if you want them to come the next time you invite them,
That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure.
right? I mean, why do you go back? It's human nature. It's all of, good food, good service. Those are table stakes.
I
That is
I
not,
love that.
yeah.
Is for us, you know what we did? We were in an area of Chicago, so we stayed the first 2 nights in downtown Chicago. And rather than going on Yelp or anything else, I went up to the front desk. Hey, there's 3 of us. One of them prefers to eat vegan lifestyle. Where do you recommend I go? And every recommendation they gave us was amazing. Not
Right.
only did they give us a great recommendation, they said, hey, you need to have this dish because we know we hear from the customers. This is one of the best. Hey, do this. Go early because the service kind of seems to slow down when it gets really busy. Go early. I mean, the front desk was for me who sold me on that dining experience. Do you see this with your travelers a lot?
Well, again, it's part of they have a search tool. So they just type in where they're going, or
Hmm.
geo search from where they're staying at their hotel, and they can see who's the closest to them that they can walk to, Uber to, drive to. And it's really based on just cuisine type that they're interested in
Yeah.
and time of day. I mean, business travelers need a solution from their morning coffee to a quick drive through if that's all they have time
Yeah.
for,
Yeah. Yeah.
to fine dining, Michelin starred restaurants, to a last call at the bar, to entertainment, golf experience, or any type of fun, food and drink
Yeah.
experience.
I love that.
All of those things are happening when you're traveling for business.
You talked about the app and technology. Let me ask another question then around that. So, how important is that piece for your diner, and what do you guys leverage from a technology piece?
So our app is quite simple. It's just, and you can find it really easily at dinova.com,
Mhm.
Dinova. Click for restaurants, and then click restaurant finder. And
Okay.
again, it's just purely, we have a signature dish
Yeah.
image in the beginning, restaurant logo, description. They can do a search if they're looking for catering, private dining, cuisine type. And then there's no way for any restaurant to get higher in the search because it's purely a
Yeah.
geo search.
Okay. It's not, hey, you know what, Miss Laura, I take care of you. Your family eats for free. I want to be ranked a little bit higher. So
No,
that doesn't work. We don't
no,
like that. We in the restaurant industry, we feel like we want to have a deal. Miss Laura, I think you should offer that, saying, hey, if you
yeah,
take care of Laura, Laura, make sure you're going to be featured a little bit better.
yeah.
I love that. So, do you recommend that we kind of pull out the red carpet for those people? Talk to us a little bit from an opera perspective. What are you asking me? Do I need to personalize their service to kind of leverage, your loyalty and your business? How does this work for my operator? Do I need to treat my customer differently, or is it just like every day diners?
Just, you won't even know who they are, right?
Hmm.
Because they're They're going to just find you through their company policies and search tools, come and dine with you. You'll provide excellent service like you do for every one of your customers. And the mechanism, which we haven't talked about yet, Christian, is the reason that these companies set up partnerships, again, with airlines, hotel groups, rental car companies. And we at Dinova, they outsource the partnerships with the restaurants to Dinova because they don't have the bandwidth to do it themselves. It's because they receive some consideration or incentive back from the restaurant. In the case of the Dinova network, the participating restaurants pay a loyalty rebate as a percentage of what the guest spends if and when they dine there.
Does this go to you or to the company?
It goes to the company.
So how do they know if they don't know where the guest came from?
So once a month, Dinova sends them a detailed accounting of everyone we sent in the previous month.
Yeah.
Date they dined, last for the credit card, amount they spent.
Okay.
Dinova collects that loyalty rebate, remits it back across all the companies that dined with you the previous month, minus what it costs Dinova to run the network. And that's the only expense to restaurants.
Okay. I love that. I absolutely love that. So now, help me understand a little bit more. Maybe let's start with some success stories. Do you have a success story for us and for our listeners on how somebody significantly increased their profitability through that acquisition and retention piece?
Absolutely. I mean, everybody on the network. So again, we have about 23,000 restaurants, and we've been at this about 16 years now.
That's amazing.
The absolute standard is the revenue that we send any restaurant in month 1. We typically will grow that by 3x by month 12 and 5x by month 24. We have a lot of very happy customers, thank goodness. One of them is Jersey Mike's, and they started with us. I think they had about maybe 500 restaurants or fewer. They sent us a thing that now they have, I think, at least 2,500 and growing. And they are an incredible success story overall, very generous and philanthropic. They pay for retrofits for all of their franchisees out of corporate funds. And they send us a thank you note every other month saying another record month. Thank you, Dinova.
That is awesome.
And we just love those guys. And the catering is incredible with them. And we have so many wonderful restaurants that take such great care of our corporate clients.
That's amazing. By the way, I ate at Jersey Mike's before my flight out of St. Louis Airport. So if you're ever in the St. Louis Airport and you look for a place to eat, you need to go to the Jersey Mike's, which is right outside the airport. It was delicious. The staff was amazing, and not only was the staff amazing, they had their new manager came up twice. And the chips my guest ate said, hey, they feel a little stale. She gave him a new bag of chips, even though she has no control over those chips. She didn't have to. And then as we left, we didn't just grab our thing. She came, hey, can I get you a bag? And as we walked out, we both looked at each other and says, wow, that was a great experience. They went above and beyond. They supported us. They could have pushed back on the bag of chips and say, hey, that's the way they come. Unfortunately, I can't do anything. She gave us a new bag of chips, and then going out of her way to getting us for a quarter sandwich, which we had left over to get on to the plane, giving us a bag that didn't have to. So for me, if you're in St. Louis Airport, you're hungry, make sure you get your ass over to Jersey Mike's. It's amazing. It was a great dining experience. We looked for one restaurant. We used the app around me. We couldn't find it. There was Jersey Mike's. I said, let's go Jersey Mike's. And it was awesome. The only thing is it was cold like a refrigerator in there. But otherwise, everything
was it?
It was really cold.
Did you tell them?
We did. And she said,
okay, good.
By the time I adjusted, you will be done.
Okay.
But they've just been really, really, really good. So besides the program you guys offer, you've been obviously in a lot of restaurants. So what do you feel some of the common challenges restaurants face when it goes about not just using your program, but getting new customers and retaining them?
I mean, right now it's just really an economic formula, right? So the people that I speak with, it's so interesting about, a lot of friends, family, I'm sure you feel the same way. It's just when you go out to a nice restaurant, it's the sticker shock of seeing how expensive it's become.
Yeah.
And so you just feel a little bit more inclined to say, oh, let's eat at home, or let's not go out this weekend, right? And again, that's why I feel so fortunate right now to be representing this group of 18 million corporate card holders that are absolutely looking to spend money in restaurants early and midweek.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then again, the service, right? That's a challenge based on, labor costs and everything else. So for operators balancing that, you can't have a great dining experience on a skeleton crew. The guest absolutely needs to feel like they're well taken care of, and that there's somebody there to welcome them and provide great hospitality.
Yeah, I love that, and for me, I know when I walk into a restaurant, I do I had to count how many servers am I gonna stay, or if I go elsewhere. And
Really?
for me, I think that maybe this is an industry habit, but for me, it shows overall how the owner of the restaurant feels about me, the consumer. I
Yep.
feel cheated if I know there's three people and they're running and they struggling to get the food out properly. Um, I also, I'm a big breakfast guy, and I honestly believe today, if you do breakfast great, you have an amazing business, because there's very few people which do breakfast great. And there was, again, in Chicago, downtown Chicago, we went to this breakfast place. It was amazing.
What was it? Do you remember?
So we were at the Marriott Million Miles,
Okay.
and I butchered the name, but it was a Latin sounding name. It was literally across the street.
Okay.
Um, you walked in, a rustic appearance, two people seating people. They told me 20 minutes. I was seated in 10. They had a really great juice menu, fresh squeezed juices. You could see them squeezing the juices over there. There were so many people in there, and not a single word from the servers. Nobody yelled at each other. No, it was just a great experience, great training, great management. That you could see who was the managers. It was fluent. The juices show up, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't want to have ice in mine." She says, "Not a problem." I was like, "Oh, she didn't even take my juice. She brings me a brand new juice." She says, "Because the reason I give you a brand new one, because this one has already ice. It's diluted. It's not the same as the fresh one. Please take the one with the ice." Yeah, at no charge. I was like, wow. I mean, I personally
Right.
didn't even do
Exceeded your expectations everywhere.
um, I asked her, what should I eat? She made a recommendation. It was amazing. Food showed up. It was just overall an amazing experience. And it was just sitting and watching them. It was so seamless, so smooth. It was fun to watch. They had an expediter there. How many restaurants for breakfast do you see actually somebody running an expediter? He ran our food. It was just a overall great experience. The food was great. The atmosphere was great. And just the way the staff treated us was the confirmation that this is the place you need to go back to. There was a reason this place is doing amazing business. So
Okay. So
just a
later
really,
I gotta find out who it is. If you
yeah.
haven't been to a First Watch restaurant for breakfast, they
Mhm.
also do an outstanding job, and they're a
Yeah.
longtime partner too.
So Monday night, we needed something quick. The hotel told us you need to go down the Gotham Bagel, 2 blocks. We
Okay.
went to Gotham Bagels. It's maybe smaller than my office. Amazing bagels. I like to eat. Hey, if I come to your house tonight, what bagel would you serve me? And this guy said, "Oh, we have this. We call it a Long Island turkey, and it has all this stuff on it. It's really delicious. Fresh avocado. You will love it." It was amazing. It was amazing. So just overall great of it. So Gotham Bagel is the
Yeah.
place you
And
need to.
it doesn't have to be fine dining
No, it
to
does.
provide an
Yeah,
incredible, flavorful experience, and it's fun. I appreciate you sharing those
yeah.
experiences.
And that varies. On Tuesday night, we did dinner at a place called the Alberts.
Okay.
And if you ever downtown Chicago, you look for a place, it's literally across the street from Super Green. It was just amazing. The
Okay.
same experience from the moment you walked in, great experience on the way they set you. The food showed up, beverages were great. I don't like ice. So many times I need to ask again, or I take a second glass and put the ice out. My drink showed up with no ice. It was just great overall experience. The guy didn't take a single note, my server, but it was amazing. Good experience. So if you ever in downtown Chicago, 100 miles,
Okay.
million miles, make sure you get over to the Alberts. Was absolutely
All right.
Amazing.
And I have a few. When will you be back in Chicago? Because we have
So
some incredible partners there.
yeah, so we committed to be back out in the end of September, beginning of October. So I'm gonna stay at the same hotel.
Love it.
Because great experience. I know exactly where I'm gonna go for breakfast. I know where I go for my bagel.
Okay.
Just a great experience.
So
So
I have three other cuisine types for you. Okay. So
yeah.
tonta for Peruvian food.
Oh, we love Peruvian.
It's incredible.
Mhm,
They're part of the Acurio group, and they also
mhm.
have Lamar, San Francisco, right on the
Yep.
water. They have several other restaurants. So Tonta, Chicago, Frontera Grill or
Mhm.
Topolo Bompo. Have you been
Frontera,
there?
somebody else told us about Frontera. I haven't been there yet.
Rick Bayless's restaurant.
Yes. Yep.
And then there's an incredible group called Dynamic Hospitality. Fabio Viviani's celebrity chef
Yeah.
is
We,
there at Siena Tavern.
yep.
And they also have Prime and Provisions. They also have a great Mexican concept called Barrio. Uh,
Mhm.
so check out the whole Dynamic Hospitality
That's
lineup
awesome.
here in
That's
Chicago.
awesome. Yeah, we big fans of Fabio. We taught him how to make pasta in a RoboCube, and
You
now
did?
so now we spent some time with Fabio, and I we know Fabio since before he was Fabio Viviani, and Fabio is a good friend.
I
Yeah,
met him in Moore Park, California, when he
mhm,
had his first U.S. restaurant called Cafe Forense.
yeah, I remember
Um,
that.
do you remember that?
Yeah, small world, small world.
Yes.
Um, he's an amazing guy. He's just Italian. Everything else is amazing about him.
Oh, you gotta love
If,
the Italians.
if he would be Austrian, he would be just so amazing. Now, Fabio is he's awesome. And also at the time, the restaurant he had in New York City, he had this it was a TV where he had all of the apps on it from when somebody gave him a bad review on any of the platforms. So he had social media in the kitchen. So and this guy said, "Oh my, I forgot what I'm paraphrasing. There was one of the dishes we weren't perfect." He texted him back, "What table you at?" And then he went outside. I was like, "This is super genius because you have instant, clarification, or it
Yes,
prevents from people from saying anything negative because I don't want you to come out of the kitchen and yell
right.
at me because I didn't like something." So, yeah, Fabio is a great guy. So,
That's
if our
great.
listeners ever have the chance to go to any of his restaurants, he's good. He's really good. Makes the best gnocchis. He's a good guy. So before we get, and by the way, we already have our "I can talk to you forever" because I'm so passionate about that.
Yes.
Um, talk to us a little bit if any of our listeners want to know a little bit more about you, what you do. How can they read about it? How can they find out about it? And how do they get in touch with you?
Oh, thank you so much for asking. So I'm on LinkedIn, Laura Wilber. Pretty easy to find me. You can just do a search there. That's a really easy way. There's a button that says book a 15-minute
Mhm.
appointment, and it's purely just a chance for me to learn a little bit about your restaurant, share with you what we do, and see if it might be a fit for us to partner you with our corporate and government clients. And really, that's as easy as this program is. It's completely automated. And I really do this because I want to help save some time and create a little balance and freedom
Yeah.
for restaurant operators and their teams. And I haven't found a better way to automate the guest acquisition and retention piece when you're talking about expense account diners who are the ones that are currently spending in restaurants.
I love that. It's just for me, I never thought about that this is actually a thing. Now you convinced. I think we need to get our restaurants on it. So I will be in touch with you.
Thank
Um,
you, Christian. I'd love to.
Laura, talk to us a little bit. Maybe let our listeners peek behind the curtain. What's new? What are you guys working on? What are some of the new strategies? What do you guys do to provide a better service to your clients?
So everything we do is designed to provide value for our
Hmm.
restaurant operators, right? The restaurant operators are the ones that are providing that loyalty rebate to our corporate clients. So the corporate clients are looking for ways to, create expense management, but the restaurant operators are the ones that have the opportunity to drive more sales at a time that prices are rising and everything's more expensive. The solution for that, for when operations cost go up, is
Hmm.
to drive more sales, right?
I love that.
So you're funding this program through what it costs you to plate the food and serve the drinks. If you have any seats and tables that are perishing in the restaurants early and midweek, that's really what's funding this program. So it becomes self-funding. And so that's really what we're working on, is just, finding more great restaurants for our corporate clients, having enough variety in the way of different cuisine types and different times of service. So, breakfast, late night. There's a lot of demand for entertainment, as I mentioned. So teams that can go out and have fun and eat and drink and do some sort of activity together. But there's always going to be a lot of demand for exceptional restaurants. And we just want to find more great restaurants.
I love that. And to our listeners, if you have done nothing else at this recording, just go back 30 seconds and just listen what she said, because that alone describes what the program is and why you need to become part of their network. So, Ms. Laura, I want to say thanks for being here. But before we wrap it up, as our listeners know, we do rapid fire questions. We have 3 to 4 questions for you.
Oh, gosh.
My team hand selected them for you.
Okay.
And that's just simply for us to have some fun in the end, and then also get to know you a little bit more and kind of peek behind the curtains what makes you tick. So whenever you're ready, Miss Laura, let me know. And then to our listeners, if you haven't done so, make sure you like this episode, share with a friend. If you have somebody who has a restaurant, make sure you get them in touch with Laura. And then also, if you haven't done so, join our private community at the Disruptive Chef Club. You get a front row seat of all of the amazing things we do. We have some great giveaways and some great events we're putting on there for free. Not kind of free, 100% for free, just to give back to the industry. So, Miss Laura, are you ready for our rapid fire questions?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Question number 1. If Miss Laura would win the lottery tomorrow and she starts a restaurant, what cuisine would it be and why?
Oh my goodness. It would be French cuisine. It would be Chef Alain Ducasse in the kitchen. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right.
Close enough. He knows.
Okay. I love him. It's the top of my bucket list to go dine at one of his restaurants in France. So that's what I would do.
That's awesome. So a second question is, and that's actually from my team, how come Laura doesn't like to cook?
Oh, I think I've tasted how food could and should taste when somebody has a gift. And I just don't have that gift. I mean, I just cook very basic things, and somehow I think my confidence just got shot with my family, who we're trying to be kind, but I could just tell they didn't love my cooking. So
yeah, just take him off the phone list. Don't invite him back. Laura, if you wouldn't do what you do today, what else would you do?
Oh my goodness. Let's see. Gosh, so many things. I'm blessed to live in a part of the country where we can be outside a lot of the times, and I would just encourage people to make time to be out in nature, fresh air, and time with animals, and just really encouraging people to figure out what makes you happy, what brings you joy. Are you doing those things every day? If you're not, pick one and just try to start doing it a little bit more often.
I love that. So we have 2 more questions for you. Question of one before last. What was the greatest advice you ever received you didn't act on?
And didn't act on? Probably to buy Google stock.
Didn't we all? Mine was Yahoo. Somebody said, "Oh, Christian, you need to buy Yahoo." What the heck is Yahoo? Okay.
Right? Yeah.
That's awesome. And last question we have for you, and that's a little bit personal. Okay.
Okay.
If you would be able to have anybody for dinner tomorrow night, who would join you and why?
Oh my goodness. Definitely Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I hear he puts on a great party.
Yeah.
I also hear he's a good guy to hang out with. He has connections.
Yes. I love his superpowers.
I love that. Thank you for playing a rapid fire question. Thanks, Miss Laura. So
Thank you.
before we wrap it up today, what is the last word of wisdom or advice you have for anybody who is on the fence to sign up with a company like yours?
I mean, again, advice, whether or not you sign up for Dinova, is just to truly be your authentic self, and to that's the advice that I would give to my younger self is, stop trying to be all professional and corporate and all of that. Just be you. You will find your audience, you will find your customers, allow them to know the real you, and put your creative spin on what you do. Help the customers understand who you and your restaurant are. Add that about us button on your website and really tell your story, and people will come.
I love that. So good. So good. Miss Laura, thanks a lot for being on the Disruptive Chef Show. We loved having you. We need to invite you back. I think this whole conversation we need to have a 2.0. So
Oh,
with
thank
that, I
you.
want to say thanks for being here. Thanks for the gift of your time. And for our listeners, if you haven't done so, make sure you like this episode. Make sure you share it with a friend. Listen back if there was something which really rang for you and you wanted to know more about. Reach out to Laura if you have any questions. How do you become part of her program? And as always, if you want to get a behind the scenes glimpse of what we do, join our Disruptive Chef Club community. It will be the best group you ever been part of. So with that, I want to say thank you again. Until next time, remember to disrupt your kitchen, fire up your career, stay hungry for change. I'm Christian, your host, signing off here with Miss Laura. Thanks for being here today. We are out of here.
Thank
Until
you.
next time, be the change, be the challenge, or be the chef who sets the world on fire. Thanks, everybody, and stay disruptive until our next show. Thanks, everybody.